everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Greenleaf Season 2, Episode 15, which was titled 2 by 2. Before we get started, have you guys ever bought something, it looks so cute in the store, and then you got it home and didn't, try it on or wear it for a while, and the return period has expired, and then you finally decide to put the shirt on? Well, that's what I'm going through right now. This shirt looked so cute when I was in Target. But when I finally decided to put it on, I was just like, what the hell did I buy this shirt for? It is not flattering at all. I don't know what's going on with these tassels on this tie, but since I can't take it back, I guess I'll wear it for this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So the episode opens with Bishop Greenleaf, and he's spending time with Grace and Sophia, and they're practicing his dance, like the father-daughter dance for when Sophia is in the cotillion. So Lady May comes down and decides to join in on the fun. So she tells them that Marisol is in the hospital with her husband who's sick. And so this is like the introduction of, the immigration issues that have been going on since Donald Trump has been in office. So they kind of like shine the spotlight on that. So Lady May says that she's not coming in to work, and she doesn't know how long he's going to be out. So as a result, Charity won't have a babysitter to go with her on tour with Tamala Mann. And so, of course, this makes Lady May happy because she didn't want Charity going in the first place. But then Bishop Greenleaf, he disagrees and says that, that shouldn't stop Charity from being able to go on the tour, and they need to work something out. And then Grace joins in and says that they all should pool together and help take care of Nathan while Charity's gone for 10 weeks. Now, we ain't talking about overnight, we ain't talking about 2 weeks or a weekend. We talking about 10 weeks. That's like 2.5 months. Grace is getting her some peen, so she ain't gonna have time for baby Nathan. So I don't even know why she all up in the Kool-Aid talking about they need to pool together. And then Bishop Greenleaf, he ain't about to be watching no baby because he too busy over there with that church that ain't had Sunday service in 2 months now. And we know that it all will fall on Lady May. And then I can't understand, with all the money that they have, why can't they just hire a nanny to come in for the 2.5 months to help watch the baby? So anyway, taking care of a baby is a big responsibility, and I think that Charity is asking a lot to have her family. Well, Charity's not asking. Bishop Greenleaf and Grace talking out the side of their neck about it'll be easy and they all need to pull together. So when Lady May asks who'll lead worship if Charity leaves, then Bishop Greenleaf says that Carlton can do it. Okay, Bishop Greenleaf, you done lost half your membership fooling around with Carlton before, and he was like, if that's a problem for you, you see, we're trying to give your daughter the same access to her own happiness that you've so freely taken over the years. So throughout the episode, Bishop Greenleaf was just throwing all kind of shade at Lady May, but she was hanging in there with him, because then she replied, what is the sense of trying to make decisions when you don't even know what the hell you talking about? So I was like, oh. Grace was standing there like, I ain't never heard my mama talk to my daddy like that before. What is going on? So we head on over to Calvary, where they ain't had church service in a couple of months now. So Bishop Greenleaf is in his office when Rochelle decides to just pop on by. And so he tells his secretary, say, girl, I keep calling her Shirlene. I think that's her name. But anyway, she was like, do you want me to close the door? And he was like, yeah, go ahead and close the door. And I was thinking, like, that is rule number 1 in the Baptist church. The pastor is not to be in a closed up room with a female that is not his wife, and that if somebody does stop by and it's of confidential nature and he needs to close the door, then there needs to be another party in the room with them. So what he should have did was told that receptionist to come on in that room, in that office, and sit down with them. But he was like, no, close the door, and she was giving him the side eye like, what the hell going on up in here? So Rochelle is there to drop off another donation. Just like, so she about to buy her a man. So then he figures out that something is wrong, and then, you know, he asks her what's going on. So then Rochelle tells him that she has to see her doctor because she believes that the cancer has come back because she did a cancer screening, and normally they'll just call and say, oh, everything is fine, but this time they wouldn't tell her what the results were, just that she needed to come in and they needed to do additional testing. So he offers, for some reason, to go with her to the screening, which again is totally inappropriate. They head on over there to the cancer office, and they sitting there like husband and wife, and I'm trying to think, like, they were sitting there talking, and then she got called back, and I thought he was going to get up and go back with her, but thank God he sat there. And so, you know, Rochelle thanks him, you know, for coming with her, and then she goes on in the back to get tested. So then when she comes back out, she tells him that everything was fine, that she's cancer-free. And then he said to her that, you know, he needs to be getting back to the office, and then she hugged him all. It wasn't like a Christian to Christian hug. It was like a, you know, like a I'm feeling you kind of hug. And so Bishop Greenleaf, you treading on thin ice, and you are old enough, wise enough, and should be spiritual enough to be rebuking this demon in the name of Jesus before you get yourself into some serious trouble. So back over there at Calvary, Lady Mae was talking to Grace and telling her that the reason Maricel is going to be off taking care of her husband is because he's an undocumented immigrant, and that he's afraid that he's going to be deported. So Grace, you know, she notices that something else is up, and she asks Lady Mae if everything is okay with her and Bishop Greenleaf. So Lady Mae admits that they are having issues, but, you know, it ain't nothing for Grace to be concerning herself about. You know, she's going to take care of it. So when Lady Mae goes on over to her husband's office, the secretary tells her that he left with Rochelle. And, you know, she was kind of like saying it in a way like, Lady Mae, you need to be paying attention because that woman about to take your man. But Lady Mae already, you know, she's on the case, and she's just going to see how long this thing going to play out. So later that night, Bishop Greenleaf and Lady Mae are getting ready for bed, and he lets her know that he spent time with Rochelle at the doctor's office. So then Lady Mae, you know, she tried to dig into him, but Bishop Greenleaf was one step ahead of her. And he was telling her that he got a check and that Rochelle is fine. So just let me find out that Bishop Greenleaf is playing Rochelle because some money involved. Like, these people are so messy. And then Bishop Greenleaf tells Lady Mae, you know, I hate to think you were being denied any crucial information. So he's basically telling Lady Mae, you'll give me away as long as some money is involved. So they need to get themselves together because they're too old for this. So then we move over to Charity. So Charity, you know, is flustered that Maricel isn't going to be able to go with her on tour. And, you know, and Lady Mae was firm that Maricel needs to be there with her husband, you know, although the doctors say he'll be fine in a few days. But I think it was going to take, I think they said his recovery was going to be several weeks. But then I couldn't understand, and I have to go back and check, did Lady Mae tell Charity that, you know, he was an undocumented worker, or did she only tell Grace that? Because I would think that if she had explained that to Charity, Charity would have understood. So anyway, Charity has to call Jabari and give him the bad news and says that, you know, she just needs 2 weeks to figure something out. And then Jabari was like, no, you know, that's not going to work. We need you for the full tour. You know, you can't be deciding your own schedule. And I think that his reaction to the whole situation was confirmation, at least to me, that Jabari is up to no good and does not have her best interests at heart, because he knows she has a baby and understands that Karen done left and everything. And so for him to be putting pressure on her, like there's no other singer that they can bring in for them 2 weeks. But, Charity, was like, okay, I'll figure something out. I'm going to be there. And so her intentions are wrong also, because all Charity think about is getting out there on that road and being able to spend 10 weeks with Jabari so she can seduce him and hopefully make him husband number 2. Then we have a scene where Charity is talking to Bishop Greenleaf, and she's venting about the struggle she's having with Lady Mae, and she really wants to go on the tour and feels like, her mom is blocking her blessings. And so he asks Charity, how will Nathan be cared for? And she says that she'll make sure, that he's okay. And then Bishop Greenleaf gives his blessings and says that he'll handle finding someone to lead the worship service. So I'm like, Charity, like by any means necessary, I'm going on that tour. And if I got to drag this baby alone, put him in the bassinet and have the stage hands care for him when we out on tour, and work it out, Charity, work it out. I know the struggles of a single mom all too well, and we got to do what we got to do. So the next day, Bishop Greenleaf heads over to Carlton's house to ask him, if he'll return to Calvary as the leader of the music ministry. And so Carlton at first was like, he got to decline because he promised Cal. I can't remember Cal's name. I just remember Cal from Living Single, him and Max upstairs. So anyway, Cal, told him don't be letting them people mistreat him, that he deserves better than that. But then Bishop Greenleaf, tells him that, he's doing this sermon about Noah's Ark and 2 by 2, remember the animals went on there, 2 of each animal. And, I was thinking about, side note, I was thinking about Noah's Ark recently because I was listening to something about it, and it got me to thinking. Actually, it wasn't about Noah's Ark. It was about, I think it was when the storm came a couple of weeks ago and the flooding down in Houston. And it got me to thinking, so it rained 40 days and 40 nights, and the world was supposedly flooded, because God was getting rid of the evil or whatever was going on with the story of Noah's Ark. But I was thinking, like, they had no technology. They had no idea how big the world really was. So did the world really flood, or was it just that city that Noah was in? Because when you think about it, when Moses led the children of Israel, the children of Israel out of Egypt, they wandered in the wilderness for like 40 years because of their disobedience to God. But the distance between where they were leaving and where they were going, by walking, like if you walk that distance today, I think it's like a little over a week it would take you to walk that distance, but they were out there wandering for 44 years. So I don't know, just some things that be on my mind when I be thinking about the Bible and stuff like that. But let's get on back to Greenleaf, because they ain't having no church, so that was just a little Bible study I was giving y'all in case you needed that sermon this week that didn't happen on Greenleaf. So anyway, when it was all said and done, after Bishop Greenleaf, told Carlton, that it was inspiration for his sermon and it would mean so much if they came back, that Carlton went ahead and decided that he would accept the offer and lead the ministry. And this storyline is so crazy because regardless of how a church feels about the gay situation, the gay community or whatever, they ain't turning down no good minister of music. Like the minister of music could be as gay as he want to. Anybody in that choir could be as gay as they want to. But if they got that church rocking, the church is willing to turn a blind eye. And that's why I say this whole thing about gay people not being accepted in the church is really made up. And that is probably more to do with pastors being uncomfortable addressing the topic of homosexuality than it is about gay people actually being in the church. So after Bishop Greenleaf has his conversation with Carlton, he now has to let Lady Mae know that Charity is going on the tour with Tamala Mann and that Carlton will be coming to lead worship. And of course, Lady Mae is not happy about this. So then later on, Lady Mae, she finds Bishop Greenleaf out on the balcony, and so they both seem to be ready to talk about the affair with Lionel, the untold story. So he demands to know, when it happened, and, he doesn't get an answer. So then Lady Mae throws out there that it was revenge for Bishop Greenleaf sleeping with Mavis. Now, I don't know how long y'all been following me, but I think it was back in the middle of season 1 when I said I believe that Bishop Greenleaf and Mavis had an affair. And so now we got confirmation that that was actually what happened. So Lady Mae, wants both of them to put their affairs behind them and start with a clean slate. But Bishop Greenleaf tells her that he can't do that since she held her secret for years and years and years. And he told her his wrongdoing right after it happened because it was a one-time thing and it was a mistake. Whereas Lady Mae, we know, was in a full-blown affair with Bishop Jeffries because she thought she was the only one who thought she was special, and now she knows she wasn't that special. So then we move over to Grace. So Grace is with Darius, and they done finished another little rendezvous, or maybe it was the same rendezvous that carried over from last week. But she's getting dressed, and she tells him that, she can't spend the night because of Sophia, because she don't want her daughter to know how promiscuous she is. And then she had invited him to come to dinner with the family over there at the Greenleaf estate. But now that she realizes that something's going on between her parents, she asks him, would it be better if they just go out to dinner? But he says no, it's a part of life. He wants to get to know the family and he wants to come over. So while they're sitting down at dinner, Darius is telling everyone, stories about his father's past. And then he mentions about how his parents loved each other so much that they died like a few days apart. And then Bishop Greenleaf started throwing more shade at Lady Mae. And he was like, to have a bond like that with another person, I can't even imagine. And then so then this makes everyone, uncomfortable at the table. Like, Daddy, why are you acting like this in front of company? So Darius, he nervously slips his wine and was like, I ain't even getting into this. So then when Grace escorts Darius out, he tells her that he could notice the tension between her parents, and that he hopes everything is okay. Then we move over to Jacob, and Jacob, what's the man that Skip, the deputy mayor, so he comes over, and is he the deputy mayor or the actual mayor? Because it seemed like I said he was the mayor in the previous recap, and people came back and said, no, he's the deputy mayor. But anyway, the guy from the mayor's office, the one that Jacob jacked up that night when they was going to the gambling party, when he said that he was going to get Uncle Micah a job, was that guy. So he is trying to get in partnership with Jacob and telling Jacob, what all he can do for him, at the mayor's office, and how, he wants to be in the church and presented to the church like he's partnering with the church to help their growth and to help the community. So, he brings up how he can fund Jacob's homeless foundation, but then Jacob says that, he'll consider it. He wasn't too sure because he done seen how these politicians and the church get intertwined together. So Jacob is in a meeting with the elders when Brittany, the treasurer chick, she tries to stop his proposal for doing the buses, by bringing up the insurance issue. And then he mentions that their congregation may not want to be around homeless people. And I'm just like, girl, are you serious? Like, I was kind of like on your side, Brittany, when you was talking about the expenses and the liability and all that and how it wouldn't look good, with them spending a bunch of money. But now you done went off in left field, because if the church is uncomfortable being around homeless people, then something is seriously wrong in the church. But Jacob, he puts his foot down and says that, the city is going to pay for it and that everything is going to be taken care of. Then we move over to Karissa and Zora. So finally, Karissa is paying attention to her child. So Zora is looking over her wounds from Isaiah's last assault. I mean, like she had bruises all over her arm, all over her back. The poor baby walking around with a long sleeve hoodie when everybody else got on sundresses. So that should be clue number one. Because I know when my child used to walk around with them doggone thick sweatshirts and hoodies and everything, I thought she was on drugs. And I was like, can you pull those up so I can see your arms? Because I'm not understanding what's going on here. So Karissa knocks on the bedroom door, which I don't understand why you knocking on locked doors in your own house. And she tells Zora that, you know, one of her teachers came to her concerned about Zora. So Zora insists that nothing's wrong and saying that, you know, she's just being a good student and paying attention more. And then Karissa said, yeah, but she says that, you know, you've been very quiet and withdrawn. And then Zora's like, okay, when I be quiet, you want me to talk, and when I'm talking, you want me to shut up. You know, when I'm doing good in school, it's an issue. She said, so I can't win for losing. So that kind of like quieted Karissa up. So then later on, she's telling Jacob about the conversation that she had with Zora. And so he thinks that she's just being a teenager. And then he starts talking about, you know, some of the crazy things that he used to do when he was Zora's age and how he used to smoke weed. And of course that raised an eyebrow with Karissa. So that Karissa got to go searching for the dope in the room. So she all in the girl room going through all her drawers and her little jewelry boxes and all this different stuff. So then Zora walks in and she found a condom. So then when Zora came home, Carissa's like grilling her about the condom. And then Zora's like, well, at least I'm being smart, you know, by using the condom. And so Karissa, you know, says that, you know, making Jacob wait for marriage made him respect her more. And, you know, then Zora was like, oh, did it? Like, does he really respect you? Because wasn't he the one that was out there sleeping with the white woman not too long ago? So then Karissa hauled off and slapped the girl. And I felt so sorry for Zora because she getting beat up by her boyfriend. Now she getting beat on by her mama. And she probably think that she is like the most unworthy child in the world at this moment. And she probably, like subconsciously, she really wants her parents to notice what is going on, you know, so that they'll force the information out of her, opposed to her having to tell them what's going on. But by Karissa reacting that way, now she's kind of like normalizing the abuse and thinking, well, if my mom hits me because she loves me, then that's the reason why Isaiah is hitting me, because he really loves me. So it's a no-win situation right now for poor Zora. Then we move over to Tasha. So Tasha gets a call from Basie. So he tells Tasha, you know, that they can't be conned out of their church, and, you know, that the Greenleafs killed his father and it ain't over. And then he tells her that, you know, he doesn't know if she'll ever see him again, but he tells her to do right by him and take down the Greenleafs once and for all. And so, you know, she's crying and everything, but, you know, she says that she'll do what she can. Now, am I the only one that saw the man in the background when Basie was talking on their phone that had the hood over his head? Because when Basie was talking to her, somebody walked up behind him and they had like a hooded mask on their head. And I'm just like, okay, somebody get ready to shoot Basie. Like, what is going on? Like, do the Greenleafs have somebody following him? If it's the guy Victor that beat him up that day at the church, like, what in the hell is about to happen to Basie? So over at Triumph, Tasha is leading worship with the guy Nelson. And I mean, they put on a good little display there. And so then Jacob has Skip there, and he's sitting up in the pulpit with him. And so when Jacob begins his sermon, you know, he mentions the outreach with the homeless and introduces Skip to the crowd, letting them know that they have a partnership with the city. So, you know, everybody's applauding and standing up, but Brittany's standing there with major attitude. And then I think she realized that, no, actually Jacob spoke up and said, you know, now there are some folks who said this couldn't be done, but obviously they haven't met my God yet. So then Brittany realized he was talking about her. So she finally stood up and was looking around, and finally clapping, because I think she realized if she don't get on board with what Jacob is trying to do, she gonna be out of a job. The episode ends with Tasha heading into Jacob's office, and she's there to let him know that she's decided that Karissa should have her office and she's no longer the first lady of the church. And Jacob, is telling her that she doesn't have to do that, but she says that, she wants to. And so as she's leaving, she looks around one last time. So I'm like, okay, what is Tasha plotting up for Jacob and Karissa and the Greenleaf family? So that was it, guys. One more episode, which is the season finale of Greenleaf. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And you can also share the video on your various social media platforms. And you can do all of that right down there. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.